so much of our daily experience is becoming digitized, I'm sure everyone will agree that the data that's created, captured, and utilized is the critical asset that firms must leverage to drive their business, develop new products and services, and support their customers. How then are organizations harnessing the power of their data? To address this question, I'm pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Jane Hesmondhalgh, Corporate Vice President and CFO, Worldwide Global Sales, Marketing, and Ops at Microsoft. And Jane is responsible for Microsoft's global commercial business across all subsidiaries worldwide. She's an experienced senior executive in business planning, execution, and strategy, and we are absolutely thrilled to have her here today to kick off our DataVision event. Jane, allow me now to turn the microphone over to you.
Thank you, John. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to share some thoughts on harnessing the power of data and use a journey in finance to provide some tangible examples on the necessity and benefit. Microsoft has been an active EDM Council member, and we look forward to the ongoing partnership. So good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone. There we go. Okay, so we're living in unprecedented times in many aspects. The one that I want to acknowledge first is what feels like a historical inflection point. In fact, many at Microsoft and probably elsewhere are calling this the fourth major industrial revolution. When steam power was introduced in the 1780s, for example, it forever changed the world, enabling everything from transportation to manufacturing and production. Similarly, electricity fundamentally changed the human experience, essentially on all levels. It's almost impossible to imagine a world without it. When computers became mainstream in the 70s, that was another inflection point. Microsoft quickly jumped on this wave with the vision of putting a PC on every desk in every home. Now we're at the fourth major inflection point, the digitization of all things. Essentially, everything can be reduced to data. Those companies that survive and thrive are those that learn to harness the power of the data to drive impact. That's really what we refer to when we talk about digital transformation. The reality is, data is the new global currency. Data is generally generated by virtually limitless resources, and the pace of data growth is only increasing. IDC was estimating that by 2025, the world's data will grow to 175 trillion gigabytes. And this stat's actually a 9% increase over the same prediction just a year ago. So when it comes to generating data, we're clearly outpacing even our own expectations. Now, organizations have to not only figure out how to deal with the volume of data, they've also got to find ways to generate new customer value using all of that data. But there is the challenge. The system that generates it or ingests the data tends to trap that in silos, making it difficult for organizations to truly understand the full breadth of their data estate. The power really lies in freeing the organization from those data silos. It's about the need to get them connected. And I've been told that we have chief data officers in this call, so I really hope that this resonates with you. Organizations that can break down the barriers across their data and digitally connect to every facet of their business, from customers to employees to operations to products, are the ones that are able to transform more rapidly and receive meaningful business results. Some may think, or may be thinking, given that we're in the midst of a pandemic, why should we manage data and have that be a high priority for our organization? Let me just give you one reason. We talk a lot about valuing our customers. I don't know how much thought companies were giving to empowering their employees. Now that we've had to all sort of quickly adapt to working remotely, how will companies determine which employees, and actually why, need to go to the office? So our ability to analyze the data available will help us make better decisions and will inform us what the future, perhaps hybrid workplace should look like. They will be key to maximizing productivity and employee satisfaction. Why is a focus on data so important to innovation? Because innovation is fueled by our ability to reason over massive amounts of data, and it's a driving force behind a company's successful digital transformation. When you put data and AI at the core, organizations can put AI into action to power their transformation, to create a digital feedback loop that helps them become more agile and resilient and really unlock new value for their customers and employees. Let's talk now about the digital transformation journey, our journey in Microsoft Finance, in fact. The journey is about taking data and turning that really into action, adding value to the business in the fastest and most relevant way. But before we could do that, we had to work on preparing the data, cleaning up the data, creating consistent taxonomies, and moving it to the cloud, and actually really culminating in creating the single source of truth. Many of our customers are still in this phase. Once the data is clean and available, we can now produce business intelligence. In the beginning, we started with static reports that could tell us what happened, but they didn't allow the drill down capabilities and didn't produce insights for business. Furthermore, the amount of manual processes and work that we had to put together to build these reports and then produce insights was actually hugely time consuming and a huge effort overall. Later, Power BI came a few years later, allowing interactive reporting, making meetings far more dynamic and helping us understand why something happened. It actually helped to reduce the amount of manual processes, but even then we could only look at the past and didn't have the tools really to predict the future. Advanced analytics actually helped to change that. We sort of crossed the line, and with machine learning, we can now learn from the past to predict the future. In fact, we've now been able to anticipate what will happen. The distance between the data and the action is much shorter now. The amount of manual processes and human errors is lower. Finally, with a combination of machine learning and bots, we get to the position that we can say what to do, automating the decision-making process and moving really fast from data to decision. Let me actually transition and give you some real examples of how we've been able to harness the power of data across finance at Microsoft. I'll talk through it referencing the power of analytics, the power of predictions, and the power of prescriptions. First, starting with the power of analytics. In finance, we're really cloud-powered, nearly 100% on Azure, including SAP. It's been a multi-year journey. We've actually re-architected all of our major systems. There's been no data shortcuts to get to that single source of truth. The result is actually, for a finance lead, reducing IT costs and CapEx by 94% and reducing OpEx through cost accountability, which is, staggering. And we could redeploy those dollars to other places to drive the business. The data governance, the consistency, the standardization has been key. It's really crucial that the information we get from the many, many data sources from every region across the world is kept both secure and compliant. So the democratized insights reduced actually our manual efforts by about 20% per quarter. Let me just use one example here around management reporting that's tangible in what we did. With a lot of pervasive legacy systems and scattered data sources, our analysts spent most of their time gathering the data, scrubbing the numbers, building reporting views in order to prepare for business reviews. We would have, key reviews throughout the year, and it would just be so time consuming. What we've asked was a cross-functional team to move all of that data to one central source of truth. And we called that the KPI lake, which actually contained for the global sales marketing operations organization, 1,700 KPIs. but it gave us a truly comprehensive view of our financial and business metrics. The secure KPI lake, which is SQL on Azure, had standardized data and KPIs from over 100 sources and became accessible through Power BI, but with rights managed by Azure Active Directory. And it was all built in 14 weeks. The result is that KPI Lake now powers our global sales and commercial business reviews, as well as our standard reporting and self-service analytics for many teams across the company. We now have consistent business review templates and KPIs with drill down capabilities to view performance details. We've got, in fact, the monthly active users of KPI Lake has grown tenfold over the past year to 7,000 of our folks across the company. We're saving over 150,000 hours per quarter, a total reduction of 20% through both direct time savings and also by empowering our business partners with self-serve analytic capabilities. Across the company, there are many more examples, and I just wanted to share one. Now moving over to the power of prediction. This is really about the ability to be more proactive versus reactive. In this example, I want to focus on machine learning forecasting, which is really near and dear to my heart. The challenge is, we all want to ensure that we have the most accurate forecast process while limiting the investment of time and resources into that process. We've been trying to revamp our financial forecast process, and we've done it by augmenting it with a machine learning forecast solution. The solution, which forecasts 100% of Microsoft's revenue, combines the best of human and machine intelligence. Again, the team created an automated pipeline with Azure Data Factory that copies historical sales data from an on-premises SQL Server database to an Azure SQL database. Then Azure Machine Learning generates the forecast results in the Azure SQL database. So the team also, on top of that, built an interactive Power BI dashboard, in fact, several dashboards, to display forecasts for multiple business units across the world. This, combined with the human intelligence around the current market, economic, competitive realities that we face, gives us the best of both worlds. The outcome has been, since implementation, the accuracy has been as good, and in certain cases better, than the internal manual forecast. Our machine learning models have continuously produced forecasts with an average accuracy of 98% versus the 97% for our traditional methods. This has also resulted in an increased availability of up-to-date forecasts as algorithms now produce and provide real-time dynamic forecasts for business leaders. Lastly, let me just share another example on the power of prescription, which is really about leveraging intelligent technology. I will use royalty invoicing for this example. Setting up contracts for royalty payments and performing data entry checks on approximately 150 royalty contracts per month was, again, very labor intensive and prone to error. Each contract actually took 40 minutes for an employee to manually just load into the platform, and errors could result in incorrect payments to developers. The solution was we deployed Microsoft's AI-powered document extraction service, which is Azure Form Recognizer, to extract text and structure from the complex contracts and automate the initial contract setup and royalty calculation engine from a client. The result of this 3 months project was that we had 0 data entry errors. We had 100% saving in data entry time. The setup is done automatically in minutes versus the hours previously, and then enabling autonomous training of future contract models using the AFR labeling as well. So rinse and repeat. Shifting gears, I just wanted to comment that, ultimately, people and culture remains key for any successful transformation. As with any change, it takes time for acceptance. And when it comes to data or digital transformation, people always also worry about how the changes will affect their jobs. Our aim has been to empower our people to do their best work, to leverage their capabilities to achieve more. Looking at what people have been spending their time on, it was a lot of transactional and operational things, almost like acting as if they were a human duct tape to bandage up broken systems and processes. So ultimately, our goal is and was and has been to elevate the role of our people so that they can focus on strategic thinking, focus on deeper analytics and thought leadership, with the aim of enabling better business partnership, helping Microsoft and our customers and partners to thrive. Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. In some ways, this slide is really an example of what that means and has meant for the finance organization at Microsoft. Historically, our finance headcount grew in lockstep with our business growth. However, post the financial crisis, we've kept OpEx and headcount flat while our business continued to accelerate in growth. In the past years, our employee base has grown only 15% while revenues up by 115%. Now, we do still continue to grow, and we did not let any employees go because we were leveraging our tools and data to improve our productivity. The increase of the standard tools and the technology actually helped us drive productivity gains, but that in turn enabled our employees to do more meaningful work and also achieve more. Let me close by sharing just a few lessons learned as we've gone through and still actually are going through this journey. There's really no shortcuts, and the lasting progress will only be made if leaders prioritize. And if we're willing to invest in systems, processes, and especially the education and data literacy of all our employees. We're experiencing a historical inflection point. Data-driven digital transformation. Data is truly the strategic asset for businesses today. The companies that will thrive are those that have established and embraced both the culture and capabilities needed to harness the power of their data, enabling them to be more agile, to anticipate and predict disruptions, and actually pivot as needed to better serve customers, partners, and employees. Many thanks for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the DataVision conference.